Right. The transfer window is shut. I can't quite believe it, and I felt kind of compelled just to talk about it because it's annoying. I'm really annoyed. I'm really frustrated by it. I can't really lie. I try. I do try and be fair. A lot of people who have watched me over the years know that I try not to be too crazy positive or crazy negative. I try and call things as I see them. And I have to admit, today I'm really down about what Arsenal have done in this transfer window. Well, I would say anyone watching this, it's live. Stick your comments in. I'll try and take them. And if you disagree with anything I'm saying, then let me know. Because I'm going to be really honest. I've seen so much nonsense from the fan base in response to this transfer window, and I kind of feel like, do people really believe the stuff they're coming out with? Because it's the first transfer window where I feel like I've ever seen any supporters of a club celebrate money saved. That's what it's come to. I'm literally an accountant by profession. And now I'm seeing everyone act like accountants here in terms of talking about we've saved £27 million on Aubameyang wages and oh, we've really trimmed the wage bill, we're letting all these players go. Is that the purpose of a transfer window? I really just don't understand where it's gone wrong for Arsenal in terms of what we seem to think that we're trying to achieve in transfer windows and just in football generally, when what we're celebrating is money being saved. I get that you don't want to waste your resources when it comes to, let's say, if we're signing £50 million on Morata or something. I'd say, yeah, I get that. You know, it's probably not the best use of money, and you understand that fans can be annoyed about that because it means there's an opportunity cost. You're not going to go and sign Isaac in the summer. But what really frustrates me is that we're celebrating saving a bit of money on wages. You know, traditional footballing wisdom tells you that in a season to compete, you need 4 decent strikers that you kind of believe that can come in. Obviously, you'll have your main 2, then you'll have another one that can come in and do a job, and then kind of like a bit of a maverick 4th, a youngster, something like that. Right now, Arsenal have got 2 strikers, Lacazette and Nketiah. And none of them, as it stands, are going to be here next season, and none of them are clinical or prolific. Now, let me just pull up Arsenal's player stats. Yeah, Lacazette has got 3 Premier League goals, and Nketiah has got no Premier League goals. Our top scorer is Emile Smith-Rowe on 8. In fact, Aubameyang, the guy we've just let go, has got 4, and he hasn't played in donkey's years. To me, it seems reckless. It seems really reckless for Arsenal to put themselves in that position. People asking the question, is this live? Yes, it is live. So, as I said, stick your comments, and I'll happily try and take it and answer a few and stuff. And you know, I've had a chance to calm down now. I did a stream with the Arsenal Lounge earlier on at 8 o'clock. And I was fuming in that. I was absolutely fuming because that's when it was really dawning on me that we are just going to waste this transfer window. And now, obviously, it's closed. I'm shocked. Don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely shell-shocked. But it is what it is. We've let go of 14 different players, either on loan or permanently, 5 of which were first team, 9 of which were youth team. So fine, the youth team, it doesn't matter. So let's just focus on the 5 first-team players: Callum Chambers, Sead Kolasinac, Balogun, Maitland-Niles, Pablo Mari. Now, it's not that I even disagree that these players needed to go. But the whole point is, you know, when you talk about players needing to go, when you talk about getting rid of dead wood, the thing that you don't say, because you believe that it's so bloody obvious that you don't need to say it, is that they also need to be replaced. They're there for squad depth. But when you get rid of them entirely, your squad depth goes with that. Say Kolasinac, even if it's like the last 10 minutes of a game against weaker opposition at home and Kieran Tierney picks up a little knock, I trust him for those 10 minutes. We're 2-0 up, let's say, to a team like, I don't know, Norwich at home. 10 minutes? Yeah, he can handle it. And this gives you squad depth. What it means is that you don't have to tell Kieran Tierney, carry on playing. or you don't have to have players who might not be fully fit or might be a bit more sort of risking an injury. You just have squad depth. We've got rid of Kolasinac. We've got rid of Chambers. We've got rid of Balogun, Maitland-Niles and Pablo Mari. Now, you tell me this in the comments below. Who is Arsenal's fourth choice centre-back right now? Let's say, for example, we're playing Man United away at Old Trafford in April, a crunch game for that fourth spot. And at that time, Gabriel's on a suspension and Ben White is injured. We have Rob Holding and who? I want to know the answer to that question. Who is it? Put it in the comments. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a few moments. Lokonga. This is what we're saying. A guy that's never played centre-back in the Premier League in his life is now going to go in a crunch game against a top four rival. Kieran Tierney, someone saying. So who goes left back? Tavares. Look at how well he's performed this season. He's been very choppy. Got subbed off after 30 minutes against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. And we're putting him in place of Kieran Tierney because we've had to move Kieran Tierney away. We're having to reshuffle. This is what we're left with. People say Mavropanos. Not a bad shout. Xhaka centre-back. So then who comes in? Lokonga in centre-mid. I mean, Xhaka is the defensive liability even in centre-mid. And now we're talking about putting him centre-back against United for that fourth spot, sort of shootout game. This is the point here. This is the point that I want people to make. I'm not going to celebrate saving money on wages. Edward saying Tomiyasu. So Tomiyasu comes out of right back. Who comes in? Cedric. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to go at you here, Edward, because I've asked you for the names. I've asked you for the suggestions, right? And you have to come up with answers. But can you imagine what that does? Tomiyasu is so crucial to the way Arsenal play in terms of that inverted fullback system. He's absolutely crucial to be the aerial target for Ramsdale, which makes Ramsdale's distribution so much better. And we're talking about putting Tomiyasu there and Cedric goes. Now, what we're going to do, pull our centre-back out to go on the halfway line to win the headers? I mean, it's a joke. All of this is a joke. There's an impact to all of these things. And what Arsenal have done by weakening their squad is an absolute joke. A few days ago on Twitter, I said, I put out a tweet and I said, save this tweet. Arsenal will make at least one decent addition to the squad. And I said that because it seemed absolutely reckless, baffling, and illogical to get rid of so many players and not make any additions. I thought clearly they're doing that because what it means is that they're saving money on wages so they can reinvest that. And obviously, I haven't even mentioned with the players that I've talked about who have gone and have obviously saved money on their wages. I haven't even spoken about Aubameyang. If we are saving, I think, what is it, about 12 million, something like that? I can't remember. 12, 13 million on his wages alone just for the remainder of this season. Why the hell couldn't we invest? Why couldn't we invest? Why could we not say some of that money we need to make sure that we add a player? I asked you the question about the defenders. Now I'm going to ask you about the strikers. If Lacazette and Nketiah get injured, who plays up front? Give me those names. Who plays up front? A lot of you are going to be saying Martinelli. Then what? Pepe comes in, someone that Arteta's got no faith in, quite clearly. Martinelli, who is doing well in the position that he's doing in, that he's playing in. And again, that we just go and mess up the good parts of our team. And you know what annoys me about that? Is that when we're coming up with these names, like, do you know what, to be fair, this is a good shout. Gunnosaurus. That's a good shout, because that would show us up for the circus that we are. When we're talking about having to deviate from our preferred starting lineup in order to sort of deal with the silly position that the hierarchy have put us in with their awful dealings in this transfer window, that is not what should be happening on a football pitch. They are meant to make on the pitch success more likely, not less likely. And when you're dragging out Tomiyasu or Kieran Tierney or Martinelli or putting Pepe up front, when you're having to react and sort of counteract the bad work that's been done, it's a big problem. I asked this question an hour ago on my Twitter as a poll. And I think this is ultimately the most pertinent question that just absolutely highlights how bad this transfer window has been. And the question is this, and people put your comments in. It's just a yes. It's a yes or no, or it's a answer it with end of the window or start of the window. And I'll just share your responses. Did Arsenal have a stronger squad at the start of the transfer window or end of the transfer window? Just put in your comments, start or end, if you believe that we had a stronger squad at the start or at the end of the transfer window. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the first times I can remember where I genuinely feel, and I've done the double genuinely again, this is when you know I'm feeling passionate, that we have actually made our squad weaker during the transfer window. That is, honestly, for me, that's a sackable offence. Start. Everyone's saying start. We've got one end. See, Lou, explain it, please. I don't understand how. I can understand some people mistakenly saying it's just as strong now as it was at the start, but I cannot understand anyone arguing the point that we have got a stronger squad at the end of the window. And let's just look at it factually. We've got rid of Aubameyang, Callum Chambers, Sead Kolasinac, Folarin Balogun, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Pablo Mari. And then we've signed Auston Trusty, who's gone straight back out on loan. So we've signed no one, and we've got rid of 6 players. One of them, a striker who not too long ago was world class, albeit, yes, his form has suffered. So please explain how we've got a stronger squad at the end of the transfer window in spite of everything that I just mentioned. Now listen, what I want to know is how can any self-respecting person in Vinay's shoes or Edu's shoes claim to have done a decent job if you've actually weakened us? With the Aubameyang one, do you know what? I'll put my hands up and I'll say, even if we didn't sign anyone, letting him go, I can understand why they might have wanted to do that. Not that I agree with it, because I would have chosen a different approach with Aubameyang, but I can understand it on 2 counts. Firstly, yes, you save a material amount of money. And secondly, because the manager was never, ever going to play him anyway. Even if Lacazette got injured and Nketiah got injured, this manager is making an example out of Aubameyang and would never played him outside, just out of principle. So it doesn't actually matter whether he's at the club or not, because it seems like Arteta had just simply exiled him. And if a player is exiled, then there's no benefit of keeping them. But Callum Chambers is a closer likeness to Tomiyasu than Cedric is, and I believe to be a better player than Cedric is. He played quite recently as well. Someone like that, he's not on big money. I get that Aubameyang might have been sort of a problem child in the dressing room, a rotten apple as such, given that everything that's going on. I'm not saying that factually. I can just imagine that perhaps he wouldn't have been a good person to have around because of what's going on. That's certainly not the story with Callum Chambers, is it? So why get rid of Callum Chambers? There's certain ones I can understand, like Aubameyang, but I cannot understand the Callum Chambers one. That to me is an absolute joke. When you're looking at someone like Callum Chambers who can play right back, he can play centre back, and he can also come in as a defensive midfielder if we need him to, why get rid of him? Earlier in the month, I was saying the same thing about Maitland-Niles. He can play right back, he can play central midfield. These are areas where we are short. Defensively, we are short. Or if we have to, or certainly centre back, we are short. And now, if we have to go and chop and change, we could have had someone like Maitland-Niles coming in at right back if we need to put Tomiyasu there. But now I've got Cedric. Listen, this is a season in which we've got COVID to think about, which is a unique challenge this season. If at any point this season there's a COVID outbreak where we've got 3 COVID struck players and we can't postpone the games because now you need 4 people to be struck with COVID in order to postpone the game, what are we going to do? Seriously, what are we going to do? And that's talking about the centre-backs and the strikers. All along this season, anyone that's watched Arsenal can see that Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka are not playing at the required level. Never mind adding to that position. Now we've got a situation where not only are we stuck with them, but it's El Neni and it's Lokonga to come in for them if anything happens. We haven't strengthened the position that we thought we needed strengthening, and now that's not even the weakest position in the team. I can't get my head around that. Before I was talking about needing a centre mid more than any other position, and now actually centre mid looks good compared to our centre backs and our strikers. This has been a joke of a transfer window, and I seriously would question any Arsenal fan who is out there currently celebrating saving money on wages. That is not why I support this club. The other thing I would say as well is that I understand the point that people make when they say we're playing one game a week and our squad should be able to manage that. But as I've said to you, we are 2 injuries away from not knowing who the hell we're putting in the team. Lacazette and Ketia, if they get injured, what are we doing? Gabriel and White, if they get suspended, what are we doing? So when we're talking about, yes, we've only got 1 game a week, only 17 games left. Yes, I get that. But the purpose of a transfer window is to increase the chances of a club meeting or beating their objectives. All I see is that now in this transfer window, we are less likely to achieve our objectives. That is unacceptable to me. Much like a few years ago when we were the only club in Europe's top 5 leagues to not sign an outfield player. We've gone and done it again. People, so that's one thing where people are saying, but we've only got 1 game a week. It doesn't matter. You still get suspensions. You still get injuries. And this season you can get COVID as well. And other people saying, well, Man United haven't added anyone. Chelsea haven't added anyone. They haven't also decimated their squad. They haven't got rid of 6 first-teamers like Arsenal have. Let me just deal with the super chat real quick. Hate to admit, but I saw this coming ages ago. Which striker or midfielder would come here? Cronkies have fooled us. We're hoping the LA Rams. Suresh, I did not see this coming. And the reason I didn't see this coming is because I, in my heart of hearts, truly do not believe that you, myself, everyone else watching this who feels the same way is more intelligent than the people running our club. I believe, to an extent, with the exception of Josh Kroenke, who's got a rich dad, I believe that they are there because they, to some extent, know what they're doing. I'm not saying they're the best men for the jobs that they're doing, but they know what they're doing. They are more able than us to do their jobs. But I'm afraid I simply don't think that I can't really say that with my chest anymore. I feel like we are the ones who are right and they are the ones who are wrong. And if we go and achieve anything this season, it won't be because of the work they've done. It will be in spite of the work they've done in January. They did really good work in summer, and I have spent the first half of the season, the first 21 games of the season, praising them for that and saying, listen, they deserve a bit of credit. They deserve some faith and trust from us fans. And they have just wiped all of that out. And why would they do that? After coming from a point where no one believed in them, no one really had much time for them or thought they were going to do the business. None of us were singing from the rooftops about Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Lokonga, Ben White. None of us were really going on about how great they are. And then they went and did really, really good business. And we've had to kind of eat humble pie as fans. For what? For them to go and destroy all of that good work? I'm so disappointed. I feel so let down. What is the purpose of this football club? It is not to save money. It's a massive, massive gamble. And I don't expect the hierarchy of this club to play roulette with Arsenal's season. Let me tell you one thing as well. In summer, the next summer transfer window, other clubs will make moves. They will absolutely make moves. They will want to put distance between them and Arsenal. Because they'll see, Arsenal have improved over the last season with the players that we've signed. And they'll know that we've got a war chest. They'll come out fighting. This may well be our best chance at top 4. And you know what? The trajectory of our club, had we got Champions League football this season, would have been so important for us. And instead, what we've done now, I'm sure, as we're talking now, the bookies would have been sort of like lengthening the odds on Arsenal to finish top four. Because simply, we are a weaker squad now at the end of the window than we were at the start of the window. So I cannot believe we haven't looked at our position in the league table. I'm looking at the league table now. We've got 2 games in hand and we're 2 points off 4th place. And I know Tottenham have got games in hand and all that sort of stuff, but the point is we're really, really in the mix. And what have we done? We've gone and just decimated our squad. I've got no idea why we've decided to do this. I'm gutted. I'm really disappointed. And for me now, Edu, Vinay, Mikel Arteta as well, they're going to have to live and die by this decision. When it comes to our final league position, if we have somehow got 4th spot, it's not because of what they've done in January, it's in spite of what they've done in January. And they've got out of jail. They've gambled and they've got lucky. Gambling is not what we should be doing right now. And if we fall out of that top 4, and if we don't finish in that top 4, then it's on them. And I want heads on the chopping block, and I want resignations. That's it from me. I've tried to keep my cool here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rate the transfer window, and I'm going to explain to you why I rate it in the way that I do. In a transfer window, there's a few things that I want. I want Arsenal to get rid of Deadwood, and I want Arsenal to sign players. They're 2 things that I look at, the outgoings and the incomings. Yes, we've got rid of Deadwood. But when we talk about getting rid of Deadwood, what's absolutely a given, it doesn't even need to be explicitly stated. What's a given is that you don't sacrifice your squad depth. You get rid of the Deadwood, but you make sure you bring players in to do the job that they would have done fleetingly. And we haven't done that. And then the other thing is proper incomings, to address the weaknesses in your squad and properly add to them. And we haven't done that. So not only have we not done the first bit in terms of getting rid of Deadwood properly, by doing so, we've actually weakened our squad. So 0 points there. And in fact, it takes you into the negative. And we've done nothing in terms of incoming. So I see no positives. Any transfer window where you weaken your squad, it's a 0 from me. So that's it. That's how I see it. Obviously, I'm praying and I'm hoping that we can somehow, in spite of this awful transfer window, manage to sneak that top 4 spot. But as far as I'm concerned, it's taken the stuffing out of my hopes and ambitions for this season. And I really wonder how the players remaining at the club are going to be feeling. How the players like the Smith Rowes, the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Ben Whites, the Gabriels, the Ramsdales, the players that have performed really well this season, how are they going to be feeling? Because I don't think when they reconvene and they come back together for that Wolves fixture, I don't think they're going to be looking around thinking we're stronger. I don't think they're going to get that mid-season boost of a player, and I don't think they're going to be feeling particularly ambitious. Anyway, I'm going to get into some comments here. They do not care about the club. If we boycott, we can get them out. We can get Arsenal Football Club back to where it belongs. Do not go in the stadiums. Do not buy the shirts. Hurt the owner's pocket. Unfortunately, Ian, Arsenal fans cannot arrange anything. We're hopeless when it comes to taking action. There's one decent protest that I've seen in years. And then when we tried to do it again, nothing. Hardly anyone turned up. So don't hold your breath. Guna Hussein, we're not getting top 4. Yeah, I hear it, man. That's how I feel. That's really how I feel. I hope we can do it, but I don't think we will. El Jazz, we're a joke of a team, guys. Absolutely shocking. We really need to get solid in that team. We needed experience. We needed some newer faces in attacking midfield. Anyway, we'll get Arteta signing. Yeah, listen, it's all. I'm afraid it's all negative now. If I see any positives, I'll try and put them up there. The clear out plus the coming summer has to be the end of the project. This season will be a missed opportunity, but the next one there can be no excuses. No, we keep on delaying the no excuses line. This season there were no excuses. This was the season there were no excuses for me. We spent more than any other Premier League team. The excuses ran out, and we've just got to make the job harder for ourselves. But on that, Arsenal have gone all in on next season because we're saving a lot of money. and all of that money better roll into the transfer budget for next season. If we can get Champions League football and somehow save all of this money as well, then boy, we better go from strength to strength. But I've got a feeling this decision to gamble our season, and that's exactly what it is. They're not custodians. They're not prudent executives. They're absolute gamblers. That's what they've done. I think it's really going to come back and haunt us. Newcastle and Villa have more ambition than us. So I think it's undeniable with Newcastle. As soon as they got all that money, all those owners, of course they're going to have more ambition than us. Aston Villa, well, listen, based on the signings they've made, it's hard to disagree. The only positive is we can clearly all see the shambles at the club. Embarrassing. And actually, do you know what, Garvin, in Taiwan, I don't want this to happen, but the fact of the matter is, if we lose against Wolves, and then who have we got after that? We've got Wolves, and I think it's Brentford. So we've got Wolves away and Brentford at home. Can you imagine if we lose those two games? There will be zero mercy from the fans. And this transfer window will be getting bought up every single time we drop points. Every single time we have to play a out-of-position player or a weakened team, this is going to get bought up. So do you know what? This shambles, as you've called it, rightly so, might just focus all of the supporters against the people that have done this. Suresh, thanks for the super chat once again. My next prediction, Saka, ESR and Martin will go to bigger clubs. Klopp is onto them. Bloody vulture. Listen, I was very glad that Liverpool actually went and signed Diaz, and they might be signing Carvalho as well, because I want them nowhere near our players. But I have to admit, if I'm Saka, if I'm ESR, if I'm Martinelli, I'm not tempted to stay here. I don't see the required ambition. Hopefully we do something in summer. But listen, I'd be feeling quite demoralised as a player if I've worked hard to get us in contention for top four, and this is what I see from the ambition. It's true we spent most of the summer, but it did nothing special for us, and now halfway down the line we are laughing off the league. I don't know why Arteta came back. We did well in summer. Look, I know it wasn't anything special. Special is not 4th, 5th, 6th place like we are now, but it did put us above expectation, and they have outperformed expectation. My annoyance is that we should have built on that. We should have said, do you know what? We're in a decent position to strike and actually to achieve something here. So let's go and build on it. Zero ambition. Question, Mo, do you really think the Prem and the FA will allow Arsenal to postpone another game after just releasing players after the last fast score postponement? If we have 4 confirmed COVID cases, yes, because if they don't, then it'll be very problematic precedent that they set. So that might be the case. But do you know what? I would rather Arsenal end up postponing games because we've got 4 COVID cases than having, let's say, 3 injuries. Because if we have 3 injuries, we have to play a seriously weakened team. So I'm nervous. I am really nervous. And I really hope that these players don't suffer a COVID outbreak, of like, let's say 2 or 3. If we're going to suffer it, we better suffer it properly. Otherwise, our squad depth is so minimal that in that game, I think we're going to really struggle if we've got 4+ players on the injury, suspension, COVID list. It's going to be a real problem. And when that happens, do not forget this transfer window, because it's as a result of this transfer window that we're going to be so weakened in that fixture if that does happen. Being an Arsenal fan is so stressful. It's like fighting 2 wars. Arsenal structure and fans being overly positive as a coping mechanism. Listen, the overly positive stuff I find just as frustrating as the overly negative stuff. Let's just be really honest. When there's something to be positive about, let's be positive. When there's something to be negative about, let's just call it how it is. And just be honest about it. My default setting is that I want to be positive. I want to see positive actions from the players in the hierarchy, and I want to talk about that. That's what I enjoy doing. That's what gives me energy. This stuff I find draining. And honestly, I thought to myself, I need to go live. I need to talk it out. Otherwise, I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to be lying there with my eyes open for 2 hours, just playing all this out, just being frustrated about this. The Wolves game is going to be a really, really interesting atmosphere. I really hope that it doesn't have the opportunity to go toxic. But you just watch this space. If it doesn't go our way now, if Nketiah is missing sitters, if Lacazette is missing sitters, if White and Gabriel get injured or suspended and we have to play holding and then tweak the whole lineup and it doesn't go to plan, just watch how toxic it could get. Listen, I hope I've tried to take as many comments as possible and everything like that. I'm not going to go on and on about this. I've said what I want to say. It's a 0 out of 10 for me. I'm absolutely disgusted by what the club have done. They've absolutely gambled with our season. And let's hope somehow we survive this and go and achieve a top four finish and finally start showing some proper ambition. And this is why I'm never, ever going to be supportive of the Cronkies, no matter how well it's going at Arsenal, because you never know what they will do or what they won't do in terms of that self-destruct button and pressing it or making sure that we don't press it. For me, I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your evening and get ready for what could be a very long, difficult season. Take care.